RabbitMQ is a message broker that implements the Advanced Message Queuing Protocol, AMQP in short. AMQP standardizes messaging by defining producers, brokers, and consumers. The advantage of messaging is that it increases loose coupling and scalability. Here's how AMQP works. We have a producer and a consumer. Between them lies a queue. The producer sends a message to the queue. However, he never uses a queue directly. Instead, he uses an exchange. Publishing a message means that the producer sends a message to the exchange and that the exchange forwards the message to a queue. Consuming a message then means that the consumer picks up a message from a queue and consumes it. An exchange won't make much sense if we only had one queue. However, in a more complex application, we can have multiple queues. Now, when an exchange receives a message, it sends it to selected queues. An exchange connects to a queue via a binding and a binding key. To send a message, the producer needs to specify a routing key. How an exchange compares the two keys depends on the type of the exchange. The fanout simply ignores the routing queue and sends the message to all the queues it knows about. The direct exchange sends messages to queues where the routing key is exactly the same as the binding key. A topic exchange allows partial matches of keys. Finally, there's the header exchange that uses the message header instead of the routing key. In RabbitMQ exists one special kind of exchange, the default or nameless exchange. This exchange compares the routing key with the queue name and not the binding key. And when the routing key matches exactly the name of a queue, it forwards the message to this queue. To sum up the core concepts, a producer emits messages to an exchange, a consumer receives messages from a queue, a binding connects an exchange with a queue using a binding key, an exchange compares the routing key with the binding key. The message distribution depends on the type of an exchange. There are 4 types available: fanout, direct, topic, and headers. A special kind of exchange is default nameless exchange. We're going to use this one for our scraping service. RabbitMQ creates this exchange for each queue automatically. It works by comparing the routing key with the queue name. The default exchange therefore makes it seemingly possible to send a message directly to a queue, though under the hood each message goes through an exchange. RabbitMQ ships with an web admin application. You can access it by going to Coding Brain Tutor and clicking on the RabbitMQ admin link. To enter the admin page, type in the word user and the word password in the login screen. In the admin area, we can manage connections, channels, exchanges, and queues. We can also create queues and publish messages. Let's do this. We add a new queue. Now let's add an exchange. And make it a direct exchange. Now we create a binding to the new queue. As the routing queue, we use the word red. What we have just created is this. Now let's publish a message to the new exchange. First, let's take a routing key that has no binding. If we publish this, we can see that the message has been sent but not routed, so it got lost. Now let's use the binding key of our exchange. This message got published and delivered. Let's have a look at the queue. We can consume a queue using the admin interface. If we click on Get Message, we see our message. That's all for now. In the next lesson, we start coding by implementing the scraper.